Welcome back to my channel, ladies and gentlemen. And by gentlemen, I mean 98% of my viewers, because let's be honest, I think I have 2 female viewers, which would be my girlfriend and my mom. Serious. Today I got a special thing in store for you. It is a powerlifting mock meet. What I mean by that is I decided to go in and test my maxes on all 3 lifts, following standard powerlifting rules, and with full commands. So even though you may not hear it in the video, trust me, they are in my head, and I doubt any of my lifts would be contested by any powerlifting judge. The reason I decided to do this is I love powerlifting, and I've competed in a meet for the last 2 years, but unfortunately this year there was not one in my local area. So I decided, hey, why not? I'm not doing this to compete against other people. I'm nowhere near that strong yet. Why don't I throw on the super sexy singlet and just do it. At the end of the day, I don't think I need judges and a professional setting and, like 30, 40, 50 people watching me and competitors to do my best. Does an official powerlifting meet and setting give you a sense of adrenaline? Yes, definitely. But I think any semi-experienced lifter should be able to conjure up that same feeling and sense of urgency. For the squat, I decided to go with the first attempt of 365. Now, this is something I've hit for 6 to 7 reps just a month or 2 ago, but part of the reason why I'm doing it is this was my final attempt in the powerlifting meet I did last year. So this way it's interesting. You can actually visually see the change and gains that your body has made over a 12-month period. I'm doing this high bar at the beginning. Low bar, I feel, although I am a bit stronger in, I am just not anatomically built for it. It's just awkward, it's painful, and though I do feel I'm stronger with low bar due to increased muscle fiber recruitment, I usually save it for my last lift. It's almost like a secret weapon. As you can tell, that was pretty simple, definitely something I can hit for a few reps. Usually that's the way I set up my 3 attempts. Usually I feel your first attempt should be something you can hit for a relatively heavy triple, around 90% of your 1 rep max. Although it is heavy, it is something you are confident you can hit on any given day of the week. It's something just to get yourself on the board, in case, God forbid, you do screw up your second or third attempt, you don't actually bomb out of the meet. Your second attempt, which you are seeing right now, I decided to go for 405. Now the way I usually set up my second attempts is my current gym PR. This is something that's definitely heavy and requires some preparation from a mental standpoint, but it is something that you have hit before, and with the additional adrenaline pumping through you and the fact that you've gotten adequate rest, or you should have had adequate rest, you should be able to hit this with moderate but acceptable difficulty. I hit 405 for a single about a month and a half ago, and then I actually hit a double probably about 3 to 4 weeks ago. So again, this is something I'm confident I could hit, but I'm not going to be going for any PRs until my 3rd attempt. Chalking up my hands here, that way I feel it's an extra insurance, that way the bar doesn't slip off your back. And you can't see from here, but I actually chalked up that little knurling in the middle of the bar. I chalked that up as well, again, to prevent the bar from slipping on your back. I'm not that worried about it yet. I believe I'm still sticking with a high bar squat, and I'm tempted to almost say it's a hybrid, because although the bar is placed somewhat higher on my back, when you factor in the way I come down with my feet placement around shoulder width apart, maybe a little bit longer, with my ass out and my back going down, almost like a Lane Norton type of squat if you've ever seen him squat. It's almost like a good morning or a deadlift at the end of the exercise. I think part of the reason why I do that is I've always felt my back to be a little overpowering. It's probably the best part of my body in terms of appearance from a bodybuilding standpoint, so it naturally takes over in powerlifting. My quads have always been a bit weaker, but now they're starting to come up, luckily, although my back does still take over during the hard part of the lift, especially when going heavy. I'm doing this without a spotter. I feel that I didn't require one. The safety bar should be enough. There's been plenty of times when I've failed the lift, so all I have to do is drop down those 1 or 2 extra inches and the bar weight will come off my back, allowing me to crawl out from under the weight like a little bitch because I couldn't actually lift the weight. Alright, lift is good. I didn't pause at the top, which you were technically supposed to. Usually the judge is going to say squat, up, and then you wait, you give it a second or 2 to make sure that you're not barely standing up, wobbling, about to collapse under the weight of the bar any second now. Usually he tells you to rack it. I didn't do that, but I think I got the lift. I have personal satisfaction over that, so that's all that matters at the end of the day. Going for 415 now, this is actually an all-time PR for me. So now since we're getting serious, I've decided to switch to low bar. And again, it hurts like hell, but it definitely is worth it. You'll notice that my form isn't picture perfect, but at this point I just want to get the weight up and avoid injury. I don't do low bar a lot, so I don't get much practice with it. Alright, so the lift, as brutal as it was, the lift is good. I think midway through the squat, that's around my sticking point. Maybe I should start doing some half squats with some heavy overload work to work on that. Starting off with 135, I'm just trying to warm up the muscle. It's actually fairly difficult when you take into consideration the speed at which I do these lifts and the speed at which this whole day was done. Even though I was at the gym for like 2.5, maybe even 3 hours, that's actually the amount of time that usually takes for one weight category in a real powerlifting meet to go through one lift. So after 3 hours, we will probably get through the squats for everyone in the 93 or 105 kilo category. Considering I did all 9 of my lifts in that time period, shows you that I didn't actually have adequate time to rest, which I'm not using it as an excuse. I didn't want to sit at the gym for 9 hours, chilling there, eating a Snickers or something in the corner, watching YouTube videos, just to recover for that extra half an hour to an hour. But you would definitely get some extra time to rest and stretch up and warm up in between your lifts and in between your attempts during a real powerlifting day. I mean, the whole day would probably take around 6, 7, 8 hours. Going for 285, again, this was my final attempt. Alright, lift is good. Everything was in check. Ass did not come off the bar, feet did not come off the ground, and there was no downward movement in the bar at any time during the lift. No one actually said pause. Sometimes people have that. I've seen on YouTube. They have a friend or the spotter actually say press after a 1 second pause, but I said in my head, and for the first attempt, I don't think it's that pivotal and that necessary. Going for a 305 here, this is actually my touch and go bench press PR last year. Alright, looks like the lift was good. Nothing to complain about that. It was pretty hard. I gotta say that was definitely around 95 to 98% of my strength. But yeah, it came out well. Going for 315 now, this is interesting. When I started this year, this was actually my touch and go bench press goal. And to actually be going for a 315 pause bench is something that I did not expect. And if I get this, this would definitely be the lift that I am most proud of in terms of its improvement over the course of the year. The squat was great, but this is something I never expected to do.
Let's go.
During the lift, I almost felt my ass coming off the bench a little bit. Now looking back at the video and remembering, it was definitely close, but there was no physical contact lost. And I think 9 out of 10 IPF judges would probably give me the 3 white lights. Other than that, fuck yeah, baby. 315 pause rep. That is awesome. At least from my standpoint, I'm very proud of that. Interesting thing too, it wasn't that much of a grinder. I almost felt the 305 was more difficult. Looking back on the footage, I almost tempted to go for 325, but again, we only get 3 attempts and I'm going by the books, so 325 I'll have to settle for another time. Warming up for deadlifts now, I gotta be honest, at this point I was pretty exhausted. It's about 2 hours of lifting, and with the squat being fairly similar to the deadlift, I definitely felt my lower back was starting to go. That is why you can see here how ugly and difficult this 455 on the sumo was, and this is something that I've hit for 7 reps just a couple weeks ago. So to go from pounding it out for 7 reps, touch and go, to barely squeezing out something which looked like a 3 rep max, I was definitely disappointed on that. Now, I don't know if this is because of the form, because of my back, or maybe because I'm just exhausted from the previous lifts. I mean, we've been at the gym for 2 hours, but something was definitely wrong, so I decided to actually switch to conventional. I haven't done conventional deadlifts in a while. I feel that sumo uses my lower back a little bit more, and after the low bar squats, it just did not feel like an option. Now for my first attempt, I'm going for 495. My last year's PR on my 3rd attempt was 500 pounds, so we're close enough. Unfortunately, in my gym, there actually are no 2.5s, so my choices were 405 or 505. And considering I was kind of worried about my lower back already, even this turned out to be a fairly difficult first attempt, way more difficult than the other first attempts that I've had. I mean, the squat and the bench flew up, and this was pretty hard, as you'll see in a minute. Alright, so the lift is good, but unfortunately it is definitely not pretty. The deadlift has always been the exercise I am most worried about. My legs tend to always go up faster than my lower back, and then it turns out at the end of the exercise you're almost doing a stiff-legged deadlift or a good morning, and this puts way too much pressure on my lower back. A 515 on the bar now. This is a 15-pound PR over last year's third attempt. Alright guys, so there you have it, 515 on the deadlift. That is actually my final attempt. I decided not to go for 525. My back just was definitely out of it. 515 was such a grinder, it was so difficult that I'm proud of it, but I'm not satisfied. So I finished off the meet with a final raw total of 1225. That's 415 on the squat, 315 on the pause bench, and 515 on the deadlift. Which I'm actually very happy about through the whole day. My goal was to put on 50 pounds every year, so to put on 95 pounds over my previous raw total of 1150, I'm very happy. I mean, I was just shy of doubling my overall goal, so I'm definitely happy about that. I no longer consider myself a newbie to powerlifting, which I was when I just broke a 1,000-pound raw total, which at that point, once you can do that, it's like, congratulations, you got your feet in the water. You're nowhere near respectable. And then you have guys who get 1,400, even 1,500 pound raw totals in my weight category with Wilks score. For those of you that don't know, Wilks is a way to calculate almost like a score system based on your body weight. You put in your raw total, you put in your current body weight, and it gives you a ratio. That way you can compare yourself against other people in different weight categories. That way someone who lifts like 1,000 pounds raw total but only weighs about 130 pounds himself in body weight is going to have a crazy high Wilks score somewhere in the 400s, 450s even. Whereas someone like myself, who can lift, in this case, 1225 raw total, I think my Wilks is only barely breaking 350. It's something like 355, maybe 357 or something, at my current body weight on that day of around 205, 208, depending on water weight, you know. So at a Wilks score of around 350-ish and a raw total of 1225, I think I'm right in the middle. I'm no longer a newbie, but I'm not anywhere near a respectable advanced level. But then again, Rome wasn't built in a day. I mean, I only started powerlifting seriously about like 1.5 to 2 years ago. You can't just jump into Candido mode, squatting over 500 pounds at, you know, a body weight of 170. It's just not going to happen. But then again, if you have this linear progression where you put on 50, 60, 70 pounds on your raw total every year, obviously the progress is going to slow down. But if you get somewhere near that and you put that on every year, I mean, I could be doing 1,400 pound raw totals in, you know, a matter of years, which I'd be very happy about, considering I am first and foremost a physique and bodybuilding competitor, and I just incorporate powerlifting movements into my workout. Some people say, oh, you know, bodybuilding doesn't need powerlifting. I say, bullshit, it doesn't. I mean, look at all the old school greatest bodybuilders like Arnold, Franco. They all have a background in powerlifting. In fact, that's almost where they started before they got into bodybuilding. So if you're going to tell me you can go to the gym, pick a weight that you can do 12 reps of for 5 different sets, and just pound that out set after set after set until you really get a good burn in your muscle, that's fine. But the thing is, I think that will only get you really good gains if you're on steroids. It's these heavy compound exercises, which are the foundation of powerlifting. Once incorporated into bodybuilding, that's what really helps you grow, in association with hypertrophy exercises in regular bodybuilding. You can go to the gym and do 5 sets of bicep curls for 12 reps and do that all day, every day. And that's fine, that's great. You're going to get a great burn. You're going to have a lot of lactic acid buildup and a lot of DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness. But at the end of the day, if you want to get big and you want to get central nervous system stimulation and maximal testosterone and growth hormone release, you need to push yourself on these heavy compound exercises. You can't be doing 12 reps of lat pull downs and expect to be 210 at 6 feet tall and a decent body fat percentage. It's just not going to happen. Unless you're on steroids, in which case, what's the point of heavy compound exercises? You don't need no hormone releasing exercises. You have all the hormones you need right here. Eat it, you're done. Not that I'm bashing guys who are not natty. It still takes a lot of hard work. I'm just saying they have to train differently than us. Sometimes people ask you, like, you know, what's the point of actually doing all these powerlifting? What's the point of trying to lift as much weight as possible? Jay Cutler himself said that he wants to build a body that looks like it could lift 1,000 pounds, not that a body that can actually lift 1,000 pounds. And that's fine, I respect that, but I fucking disagree with it. I want a body that looks like it can do something. And if you need to put your money where your mouth is, I can do it. Bodybuilders and men's physique athletes especially get a really bad stigma in some ways. They have no legs. They come to the gym, choose a weight that's 1/10 of their body weight, and then rep it out for 2 hours. Powerlifters get a bad stigma as well. They're these fat guys who come to the gym, pick a weight they can do for 1 rep, and then rep it out 2 or 3 times, almost snap their shit up and go home. So I say, why conform to one or the other stereotype? Choose the best of both worlds. Take that, take the negative, cut it out. What are you left with? Pure fucking awesomeness. Imagine having a body that looks like it could lift 500 pounds, but in reality can lift 600 pounds. People are gonna be like mind blown. And you'll be mind blown. That's what matters most. And at the end of the day, you're not doing this for anyone else. That's why I did this mock meet. I mean, who's there to like actually care? What, the dude in the corner taking a look, maybe during his water break, admiring you? That's great and all, but you're doing this for yourself. You're doing this to see how much you've improved, and that's what matters most to me. And I think that should matter for most athletes. If you're doing this to impress dudes or impress chicks, then dude, you're in it for the wrong reason, and your motivation is gonna go pfft. Invest hard work in yourself. Start with something, build on it again, then build on it one more time, stop, reevaluate. It's going to be the best feeling in the world. It's because you actually did something, and you did something tangible. You didn't sit around playing Xbox getting some weird ass gamer points, which at the end of the day don't mean shit. You didn't do 1,000 crunches so the one girl could check you out for half a second and make you feel really good, but then that's over. You have something physical, you have something tangible which you can be proud of, and you did it by yourself. And most importantly, you did it for yourself. So this is my challenge to you. If you're interested in powerlifting, or if you're interested in seeing where you are and where you're going to be going in a month, 2 months, a year, whatever, go to the gym, rest up for a couple days, eat well, then go to the gym and do a mock meet. Try your 1 rep maxes on each of these lifts. Obviously do it safely, stretch up, rest, get a spotter, know your limits, don't put on 50 pounds on your previous 1 rep max and then try to gut it out. But see where you are, establish what your body can do, and then fucking beat it. Alright, I'm pulling into my house here, so I think that's the end of my Christian Guzman rant.